If I'm being honest, by I Don't Know Man on AO3, Episode 19, Chapter 6, 17th Annual Polar Bear Plunge. The water pressure was harsh, heading Todoroki's skull. Good. Maybe the water could beat some sense into his head. Just like Izuku beat the shit out of my face. Todoroki flinched as the stream hit his bruise. Damn, that kid was strong. Todoroki sighed. So strong. He didn't even bother reaching for the shampoo or conditioner, or the bunny loafa he won during last year's Secret Santa. Getting clean wasn't really the point, now was it? The point was shame to retract his sleepover promise, he supposed, or at least formulate a game plan to avoid making even more of an ass of himself while Midoriya was over. What's the worst that could happen? Todoroki questioned out loud, his voice all soggy and humidity. It hardly helped boost his confidence as he hoped, because a whole hell a lot could have happened, and he knew it. An adorable, sleepy Midoriya in the same room as a scarily forthright Todoroki? Lord have mercy. He could already imagine it. His fluffy green hair even messier than his usual from the pillow, his nose scrunched up as he yawned, sleepily scratching at his stomach, and flashing a hint of ab that would most definitely wreak havoc on Todoroki's circumstance. Hell, with Todoroki's luck, he could imagine himself getting up to pee in the middle of the night and tripping over Midoriya, then landing on top of him like some cheap, controverted scene from an eco. Assuming Midoriya would be asleep on the floor next to his bed. That is, and if not... Oh god! If they shared beds... Todoroki swallowed, not even registering the water hitting his face anymore. Those things were not wide, especially for two adolescent guys. They'd practically be breathing in each other's faces. Todoroki squirmed underneath the water stream. Or what if Midoriya faced the other way, back towards Todoroki and arched slightly as he got comfortable, his back arching in a way that made Midoriya's body threaten to invade Todoroki's personal space, leaving mere centimeters between Todoroki's hips and Midoriya's... With a start, Todoroki opened his eyes, only to wince as they were hit by some spray, and then winced again when he realized the path his right hand had drifted down. Hint, the same path as a healthy proportion of his blood. Shouto? Are you alright? I'm pretty sure I smell smoke. Reality suspended Todoroki's harshly, and eyes popping open. He lurched fully upright, head spinning, and oh my god, was he near smoking, wasn't he? So, edited brain free of this cruel mistress of rationality, he lunged with his unoccupied hand and turned the shower dial all the way towards C. Then promptly yelped because Jesus fuck was that cold, especially for someone who didn't normally need to endure extreme temperatures, and poor Todoroki Jr. was not happy, losing blood more quickly than a shaking victim. Since when did the dorm shower respond so quickly to instructions anyways? And fuck, now his head was starting to pound. Midoriya had asked the question. I'm alright now, was just, lost in thought. Thoughts of deflowering the same boy who was standing just meters away. Sure, but thoughts indeed. And Midoriya seemed satisfied by the reply. It was high time to get out of the shower. Toweling off, and throwing his clothes on rather haphazardly, Todoroki threw open the bathroom door, only to spot his friend, yes, friend, situated adorably on his bed, crisscross style. A real 10 out of 10, A+ Midoriya. Out of the frying pan and into the fire. Huh. Hey, Shouto. Midoriya smiled. I went ahead and changed into some of your PJs, if that's okay. So he had. Yes. Todoroki focused out, rather occupied, noticing the way that the other too large t-shirt dripped beneath Midoriya's strong collarbone. Todoroki Jr. twitched. Apparently he was gonna let that polar bear plunge keep him down for long. It's nothing else. Let it never be said that Todoroki lacked resilience. Catching himself staring, Todoroki tore his eyes from his good, platonic friend and sat down opposite of him, painfully aware of every creak the bed made. Why was Todoroki cursed to ooze awkwardness with every action? For a mere twin bed, that thing sure could generate an ungodly amount of sound. Maybe he should have thought about that particular in practically to savor off his little foray of fantasy while in the shower. Yeah, the sadistic part of his brain replied. It really would have calmed him down to think about how much his puny little bed would creak while he passionately rocked into Midoriya. He definitely should have thought about it then, and not now. Todoroki Jr. hopefully instructed the concept of Midoriya producing sounds of his own making Todoroki stone, swallow, and Jesus Christ. Speaking of noisy acts, Todoroki was pretty sure that singular swaller had breathed 100 decibels. Why did he have to be the most awkward human being on the planet? So, Midoriya began, and Todoroki absolutely did not nearly jump out of his skin with the sudden word. What do you want to do now? Todoroki leaned back on his arms, looking up at the ceiling in contemplation. Just be chill. To be completely honest, I really want to do you. It took all of 5 seconds for Midoriya to turn completely red, and for Todoroki's soul to vacate his body. What? Midoriya sputtered, well on his way to Guinness World Record for longest consecutive stutter, until Todoroki graciously interrupted. Yeah, when I said I was lost in thought earlier, I was actually jerking off thinking about us sleeping in the same bed. He blurted, before he could even think, react, throw himself out the window. Not just sleeping, obviously, but I feel really bad for thinking about that stuff because you're still my best friend, even though you're super hot and have an amazing ass, and sometimes I catch myself staring and remember that one time I set the gym on fire? That's because you were. Todoroki slapped a hand over his mouth, as hard as he could manage, knocking his teeth painfully. What the hell was going on? This wasn't part of the quirk. He hadn't bargained for this. Midoriya looked like he had been punched in the gut. Todoroki had never been more embarrassed. Holy hell. Midoriya's expression and an excruciating cramp seized Todoroki's side. Todoroki gasped in pain, parting his mouth just enough for disaster to strike. But that doesn't even touch that one night when I had that dream. Todoroki's heart stopped. He knew this dream, where you were wearing a uniform skirt. No, stop! And a blouse, but let me tell you, the blouse didn't last long. A resounding thought cut Todoroki off, and he felt dizzy for just how hard he slammed the pillow against his face. His words, blessedly, were effectively muffled, at least for the time being. He needed to find a way around this, and fast, because no way and fucking was Todoroki going to finally reveal his feelings for Midoriya like this. This coherent word vomit. Not like Midoriya hadn't definitely put 2 and 2 together by now, but Todoroki wanted to process an official confession with flowers, words, and flowery bouquets with sweet, heartfelt sentiments. Todoroki may not be a modern Chavian, but he could do better than this. And Midoriya definitely deserved the best Todoroki could offer. More than the best. Not, I get turned on when you kick ass in fights. Todoroki increased the pressure of the pillow, feeling lightheaded. Shouto? Midoriya looked legitimately frightened. Something is definitely wrong. We need to get you to recovery girl or some... Crap, she's traveling. But don't worry, I'm gonna fix this for you. Shouto? Shouto? Midoriya's face blurred, and Todoroki swayed. Oh yeah, breathing was a thing. Or wasn't. Now with this pillow, and his stomach was convulsing, and lungs aching, and his head swimming, and Midoriya was reaching out to touch him, and oh no. So Todoroki fled. He ejected without a parachute and booked it to the door, flinging it open with the last bits of oxygen floating in his blood. Wait! Midoriya called from behind the room, but Todoroki kept running, skidding to a halt before the door to the stairwell. No other choice. Maybe it will also stop Midoriya. With his throbbing mind made up, Todoroki dashed inside, throwing the door shut behind him as he raced down the stairs. Halfway down, he removed the pillow from his face, gasping violently, as he finally rounded the final corner and set his sights on the next flight of stairs, and then, whomp, Todoroki, slobbery pillow, flew into the great unknown as the teen found himself tumbling rather painfully onto the ground, his vision swimming, Jesus, his jaw hurt. And what the hell happened in the first place? Had Midoriya followed him? And why was his pillow across the room? When all he wanted to do was nap or perish or... Shut the fuck up about your shitty pillow and get the hell off of me! A voice screamed in Todoroki's ear, which was a great help for his headache, really. And Todoroki suddenly registered the very warm body underneath him, as well as the spark of an explosion in the world's dangerously close to Todoroki's face. But Bakugou? What the hell? I thought you were with Kirishima, making out, which, to be honest, I was kind of jealous of because The sparks grew hotter, and Todoroki's oxygen deprived. Brain finally registered the actual likelihood of death. Fuck. Cool it with the explosions. One scar is more than enough. Then move your ass. Christ, they were really close, practically laying on top of each other. Like that conceived, etched scenario he had thought of earlier, but with the worst possible plot twist. I don't want to hear about your weird fucking exotic fantasies. Just get the fuck away. Bakugou grabbed Todoroki by the shoulder and began pushing them apart until Todoroki's knee found perhaps the most dangerous route since the passing of the Titanic, and the light feather ever so lightly brushed against... Oh my god, you have a boner. A beat. Holy shit, you're huge. It took no less than 3 seconds for Bakugou's face to fill with a truly bright red, and for his face to perform a violent jig between pride and mortal embarrassment. Expression morphing to and fro. Hell yeah, it's big and you... Kirishima, just take a piss for a second, alright? This isn't because of you. Got it? You fucking... Fuck! Stop sighing, bitch! Oh my god, I'm laying on top of you while you have a boner. And I'm gonna need so much therapy, and Bakugou seized Todoroki's collar, yanking them nose to nose. You so much as blabber a single fucking syllable about this? He growled. I will personally escort your in-yards to... Shouto? Kachan? Two heads whipped around and beheaved a very wobbly Midoriya, whose legs looked well on their way to Mudany. Deku! Bakugou roared, just as Todoroki yelled desperate, It's not what it looks like, Izuku, even if Bakugou does have a boner. A big one. Oh, you are fucking dead. Bakugou seethed, rolling over so that he was on top, and crocking his fists threateningly. Yet somehow the threat didn't land very well as Bakugou hunched over awkwardly, making sure to hold his hips as far as possible from Todoroki's body. A boner? Midoriya whispered, distantly, legs finally waving, a white flag, as he more collapsed and sat on the stairs behind him. Sparks began crawling over Bakugou's fist. Half and half is about to become nothing and nothing. Not your best work. Todoroki's stupid mouth supplied, and Bakugou's face grew impossibly brighter. I must be dreaming. Midoriya murmured in the background. Please tell me this is a dream. I never would have... I didn't even expect... You can do so much better, Shouto. Oi! Bakugou turned to shoot a glare at Midoriya, burying Todoroki's precious seconds before death. Izuku, please. It's not what it looks like. Even though it looks like I was grinding on your childhood bully in the stairwells and... Okay, I noticed this, but he doesn't have a shirt on, but mine is on. Super on. Unless you want to take it off. Then it would be super off. This can't be happening. Midoriya groaned, burying his face in his hands. I know it looks bad, Izuku, but when you consider how stupidly in love with you I am, it doesn't make sense for me to do anything with Bakugou, or anyone else for that matter. You're the only person I dream about, think about so much I feel like I could hardly think about anything else. The only person I want to kiss so badly it hurts. You're the one I want to wake up next to in 20 years, to see your beautiful smile light up our home every single day. Todoroki took a deep breath. Also, you fight good. And just like that, he done it. Said everything with horrifying ecology, but it is said nonetheless. Said the words that had been so mercilessly restrained within his heart for years, the same heart that was rattling against his ribcage so viciously that it seemed it might escape. And Midoriya Oh, he was simply stunning, his gorgeous green eyes wide as he stared at scarred hands clasped at his chest, as the moment slowed and stretched into infinity. A moment Todoroki could never forget. Just him, Midoriya, and fuck this man. Bakugou, who rolled the pair over and all but blasted Todoroki off of him. The world prostrated suddenly as Todoroki felt himself whoosh backwards until he felt strong arms steady him, beckoning to him none other than Midoriya. Todoroki's entire world sighed in content. He turned to face the smaller boy. Izuku, you're the most amazing person I've ever met, and I want to go get ice cream and watch movies and watch shitty anime with you. And you're so strong. Holy fuck, I love you. I want you to pick me up and fucking gays need to get a goddamn room. Bakugou scoffed as he stood, busied himself off, then beat the hastiest retreat this side of France, not even bothering to connect his discarded tank top as he beelined for the exit. The door slammed with a sharp clank. The remaining pair roosted in place, frozen. Todoroki's blood went cold for a split second, then returned to normal. Huh. Silence again, until Midoriya coughed, railing his hands. Hey, Shouto, He cut himself off, and Todoroki took a step forward, shortening the distance between them to about a meter. Midoriya gulped, then visibly gathered himself, straightening. Shouto, I'm willing to forget all of this if you want to. Todoroki's brows furrowed, his confusion heightened by something else that was off, that he couldn't quite put his finger on. But Midoriya continued before he could voice the concerns. Obviously, you got hit by some sort of quirk or illness, or hell, maybe I really did give you a concussion. But the important thing is that it's that... Midoriya bit his lip, looking down. You clearly aren't acting like yourself, and the last thing I want is for things to get awkward between us because some freak accident made you come up with all this random stuff. He sucked in a ragged breath, the line between his brows wobbling dangerously. Quirks makes people do crazy things, act completely irrational, you know? Yeah. Midoriya trailed off, even though it seemed like it run its course anyways. Of course, that was it. The godforsaken quirk had finally run out. The 12 hours must have passed. How else could this opposite silence exist with Midoriya towing at the ground, and Todoroki desperately trying to fit right words together? Because holy shit, he couldn't let this happen of all things. A blatant rejection? Fine, it sucked, but at least Todoroki's intentions would be clear. But this? With Midoriya about 5 seconds from crying, all because Todoroki was too idiotic to imitate his own situation and write it out in solitude, or at the very least, to fix the mess he put himself in. No fucking way. So he closed the gap, grabbed Midoriya by the shoulders, and stared right into his widery eyes. Midoriya. Izuku. I need you to know that... Midoriya's eyes widened. That I don't have a concussion. Midoriya blinked once, twice, a third time, then closed his eyes briefly. Sure, Shouto. He opened his eyes again. You know what? Let's just talk about this later, after you had a full night of sleep. What do you say? Oh god, no. In a Shamato-level plot twist, Todoroki found himself missing the quirk's effect. At least then he could effectively accumulate what was on his mind. Word vomit, notwithstanding. Midoriya sighed and moved to remove Todoroki's hands from his shoulder. For a brief second, scarred hands covered his own, and something in Todoroki snapped. I've been in love with you since first year, he blurted. And that's not some lie or hypnosis or brain damage or whatever the hell else. I've been acting like a complete idiot all day because I got hit with a quirk that made me tell the truth. But that's how you can know that it's really me. Me, Todoroki Shouto. The same Todoroki Shouto that you've known for 3 years now. Midoriya's mouth fell open, the puzzle pieces clearly falling together in his mind, and Todoroki may or may not have been shaken, but he fought awkward, the words practically tumbling out of his mouth. The same Todoroki Shouto that's so happily to call you my best friend. The same Todoroki Shouto that you broke so many fingers to save during first year. The same Todoroki Shouto that burned cookies with you that one time and set off the fire alarm. Then Bakugou yelled at us, even though he literally is the last person qualified to complain about smoke, besides me. Todoroki took a deep breath. Midoriya's mouth had nearly closed, his face tilting up to stare at Todoroki with such intensity that he felt himself begin to blush. Well, no use in stopping now. Taking Midoriya's hand in his own, Todoroki pulled him closer. I'm the same Todoroki Shouto that asks you to help with English every week. He smiled. I've been fluent since middle school. I'm the same Todoroki Shouto that's too wimp to ask you to dance at last winter's formal, that dreamt of kissing you too many times to count. And you're the same Midoriya Izuku that helped me experience true friendship for the first time in my life. The same Midoriya Izuku that inspires everyone I know to work harder, to become the most they can be. Todoroki squeezed Midoriya's hands. The same Midoriya Izuku that I once burnt a shirt off to try and impress. The same Izuku who I love so much that I can't believe it took me a goddamn quirk to make me to confess. Oh Christ. He was shaking pretty badly, wasn't he? And that was to say nothing of his voice cracking all over the place. Not to mention his sweaty hands, which of course Midoriya could feel. Jeez, he probably seemed so lame, especially with that pathetic excuse of a confession. Now poor Midoriya was gonna have to walk on eggshells around him because he had completely ruined their dynamic and crossed all the lines in. Did you really burn off a shirt to try and show off your abs? I mean, I'm assuming it was your abs. And cue the record scratch. Todoroki went even deeper scarlet. What happened was, I kinda got carried away during that whole monologue, and, not everything I said is super important. Just answer the question, Shouto. Oh god. Midoriya was grinning, and it was so fucking adorable. How could Todoroki say no to that smile? Yeah, Todoroki had convinced me it was a good idea. Todoroki felt many things as Midoriya bursted out laughing. Firstly, he felt embarrassed to go ahead and route out the motif of the day. Secondly, he felt delightedly dazed. For a laughing Midoriya, a lovely sight did make. Thirdly, he felt a sudden, wet pressure on his lips, then his hands in his hair, then warm breath on his neck as Midoriya pulled back. You should thank her, then. Green hair tickled Todoroki's neck as Midoriya nuzzled against his chest. Because it totally worked. Also, you better fess up about the uniform skirt dream of yours, mister. Yes, sir. Todoroki grinned into Midoriya's hair, tightening his arms around Midoriya's back. Now, what were we up to? Midoriya's muffled voice mused. Todoroki wasted no time in reminding him, grabbing Midoriya's chin and planting a kiss on those perfect, perfect lips. Then another, and another, and then 10 more for good measure. Todoroki kissed the shit out of that boy. Todoroki felt scarred hands ball up in his t-shirt. The reverberation of Midoriya's satisfied hums circled up the back of his throat, and his own heart pounding so loudly it put a 21 gun stat to shame. Todoroki also felt the draft from the stairwell air conditioner tickle the back of his neck, and certainly did not feel the seconds turn into minutes as he continued to lay an onslaught of kisses on Midoriya. But most of all, Todoroki felt complete. I skipped some parts that were dangerously, really dangerously, smutty? Not dangerously, they were straight up smutty. Not towards the end, it was towards the beginning when Todoroki was having a fantasy, basically. Anyways, we're not gonna talk about that. They finally confessed. That was not how I was expecting that to happen. I'm actually super wrong. I'm devastated. Okay, so the next fic that I'm gonna do is called Best Friends Don't Kiss. Do they? But boyfriends do. I'm gonna have to pronounce that Haroboutno. Okay. Haoboutno 89. Hanobutono? ob, ha, ob, u, tana. Haba untana. Haba untana? I'm gonna have trouble with that. Haba untano 89. Summary. Will you kiss me? He looked up, and Todoroki swore he'd never seen Katsuki get this red before. Never noticed the ruby shade of red lips the tips of his ears get, the contrast between the pink of his cheeks and the ruby in his eyes. Why the hell not? His voice did that crack again, like a deafening explosion going off, breaking into million of fireworks halfway. Because we're friends, and I want to know how it feels to kiss. Oh, no, not why the hell not. Why the hell? What the hell, why? Or, Bakugou and Shouto are best friends, who sometimes kiss. Will they get their shit together and be boyfriends who kiss instead? A very interesting premise. It will most likely only be 4 episodes long. It is a shorter one. It's 21,000 words. 21,449 words to be exact. It has 2 chapters. Each chapter is probably going to be broken up into 2, or maybe 3. I don't know. I presume this to be at the very least 4 episodes long, right? At the very least, you know? For maybe 6. Maybe 6. But I don't think it'll pass the 2-week mark at all. Let's be honest. So, this one's gonna be super cute. We have aged up. They're in the 3rd year, mutual pining, pre-relationship, developing feelings, best friends to lovers. Shouto fell first, but Bakugou fell harder. Oblivious Todoroki Shouto. Todoroki Shouto is bad at feelings. Bakugou Katsuki is whipped. Simp Bakugou Katsuki, kissing, first kiss, idiots in love. I love idiots in love. Idiots in love is so fun. Me and my partner are idiots in love. Fluff, tooth rotten fluff. Characters are pro heroes. Implied sexual content. Oh, great. Drunken confession. Oh my god! Drunken confession! Oh, whoa, hold up. There's another way of saying it in French. Soirove? No, I forgot what it says, but it's soirove or something like that. Angst getting together. Bakugou Katsuki calls Todoroki Shouto princess. Happy ending. I love this. Okay, I cannot wait for that one. It is a Todobaku. So it's the first Todobaku that I'm doing. I didn't draw it a picture because I'm too lazy. And by lazy, I mean I'm recording the first episode today in like a couple minutes once this done is downloading onto my laptop and then onto YouTube. So I don't have time. So, yeah. Anyways, as always, my raindrops, make sure to eat, sleep, drink water, take your meds. Have a wonderful day or night. Link to my Discord server and socials are down in the description. Subscribe to see more of my content, and thank you so much for watching.